Chapter 16. Day after the bodies were found. Clover's point of view. I woke up and stretched. I was still so tired, but I needed to go to work. I didn't see anyone suspecting anything after what they found yesterday. After showering and cleaning it, I went downstairs for breakfast. Good morning, as I walked into their room. Morning, Clover. They all said in unison, although Lily didn't say my name. Her shyness is actually very attractive, but I hope she still comes out of her shell a little soon. I'd like us all to get on better as a family. I sat down, and a plate of eggs, bacon, sausages, and beans appeared in front of me in seconds. Thank you, Lily. She smiled and sat down in her seat. There was something about her smile, though. She didn't look happy. Maybe she's not feeling well? Are you okay, Lily? I'm fine, she replied quietly. I nodded and I smiled and nodded. Bless her. She didn't want to make me worry. I'll ask Rose to keep an eye on her and let me know if I need to bring her a couple of paracetamol or something. So, what are you all planning today? I asked between bites of bacon. Rose smiled and put her cutlery down, facing me. We're going to do some knitting. We haven't done any in a while. Which reminds me, do you think you'll be able to pick us up some more wool? We're getting a little low. Of course, I'll get some after work. Thank you, she said gratefully. My pleasure. I squeezed her hand and returned to my food. The fact that everyone knows about the bodies does worry me. It's only a matter of time before the police want to talk to Helen's colleagues. But I have a plan already, so I know that I will be fine. It was all her fault in the first place. None of this would have happened if she hadn't been such a lying, cheating slut. As soon as I finished eating, I stood up to leave. I couldn't put this off any longer. Thank you for breakfast. I'll see you tonight. They all looked a little surprised that I was leaving so quickly. Before they had finished, I felt guilty. I'll have to do something for them to make up for it. Maybe I'll get them some new DVDs and books. Okay, we'll see you later. Have a great day at work, Rose and Poppy said at the same time. That Lily said goodbye. I walked into my office and sat behind my desk, sipping the steaming mug of coffee. I had so much to do today, so I turned the computer on and got started. The bodies of Helen and the other dirty sluts had been found yesterday, and this morning the police are making a statement, naming Helen and one other. They did know the identities of some of the others. The atmosphere at work was tense. Everyone was so shocked and wouldn't shut up about it, so I kept to myself in my office away from them all. About halfway through the morning, I saw a police car pull up and my heart started pounding. David walked out to greet them. I knew they would come here eventually. Stay calm. There was nothing tying me to them, so I just needed to answer their questions and it would be fine. 40 minutes later, there was a knock on my door, and I took a deep breath. Come in. The two officers walked through the door, followed by Tim, the office manager. Colin, the police need to talk with you now, okay? I nodded and stood up, gesturing towards the seats. Please. Tim smiled and walked out, closing the door behind him. This won't take long. We just have a few questions. Of course, anything I can do to help. They asked me their questions. When did I last see Helen? Did I know anyone that would want to hurt her? That sort of thing. There is something. It might be nothing, no, but I think it's worth mentioning. They looked at each other and sat forward, eagerly awaiting the information. Please go on, they urged, staring at me. I scratched my head and tried not to smile. David Smith, the man that greeted you as you walked in. They both nodded and started writing on their pad. I casually peered over to see what they had written, his name on the paper. Well, he and Helen were having an affair. I watched their eyebrows raise slightly and continued. I heard them speaking 2 days ago. They scribbled something else on the pad and looked up. What were they talking about? Helen wanted to see him that evening as her fiance was out of town. David seemed reluctant, but eventually agreed. It seemed like she was trying to force him into continuing their relationship. I said, looking straight into their eyes. They glanced at each other and then back to me, and asked me endless questions about David. I have heard him mention other women before, and not just his wife. I don't know if he's capable of murder, though. I only said that so I wouldn't incriminate myself. I want them to think that I don't think it's him, even though I can see in their eyes they do. Do you know of any women he's mentioned? I shook my head. No, sorry. They continued asking a few more questions, and I answered everything carefully. Well, thank you for your time. They stood up, and the male officer handed me a card. If you think of anything else, please give me a call. I took the card and smiled at them both. Absolutely. I just hope you find who did this soon. Helen deserves justice. They smiled and nodded before walking out. I sat back down on my desk, grinning. That was almost too easy. I stopped smiling and walked out of my office to make a coffee. Julie and Marie were in here gossiping as usual. They were talking about Helen. Hello, ladies. I smiled, I said, smiling sadly. Hi. They both whispered in unison, staring at their drinks. It's awful, isn't it? Julie said, taking a deep breath and wiping her tears from her cheek. If she knew what Helen was really like, she wouldn't be wasting tears on her. I poured milk into my cup. Yes, awful. Who could do something like that? It just doesn't make sense. Who would want to hurt Helen? She shook her head, looking between me and Marie, who shook her head. Well, whoever it is, I hope they lock him up and throw away the key. That isn't going to happen. I'm not stupid enough to get caught. I'm sure they will, I said, squeezing Julie's arm comfortingly. Marie nodded. I hope so. It makes you scared to go out alone. Just make sure you ladies are careful. You never know who's about these days. Julie nodded and wiped more tears from her face with a tissue. Are you okay, Julie? Maybe you should go home. She took a deep breath. I think I should. I'll drive you. We don't want you walking out there. You don't know who's about. I said, putting my mug down. She smiled warmly through her tears. Thank you. I pulled my keys out of my pocket and waited until she had hugged Marie. I'll call you later, she said, hugging Marie again. You alright now? I asked as we got outside. She nodded and smiled weakly. I led her out of the building and opened the car door for her. I'm sorry, I'm crying all the time. She sobbed and held a tissue to her nose and blew loudly. I tightened my grip on the steering wheel as I drove. The germs would be flying around the car, landing on every surface, and on me. Don't worry about it. You're upset, I said through clenched teeth. They were on me now. The germs. I could practically feel them crawling all over my skin. I couldn't breathe properly, and all I wanted to do was shower and scrub my entire body. Colin, do you think they'll catch him? She asked quietly, snapping me out of my thoughts. I nodded, staring forward and trying not to lose it. I'm sure they will, I said convincingly. I could barely concentrate on her. All I kept thinking about was how disgusting and dirty it was inside my car now. I needed to get out, soon. I hope so, she whispered, looking terrified. Please don't worry. We'll all make sure you don't have to walk to and from work anymore. As long as you're being cautious, you'll be fine. She smiled gratefully. Thank you, Colin. That means a lot. She was silent for a few minutes, but I can tell there was something on her mind. Do you think she was in pain for long? She asked in barely a whisper. Yes. I'm sure she wasn't, Julie. But don't think about it. Don't torture yourself. Oh, you just missed my turning. She looked back and pointed. Sorry. It's okay. You just take the next left. I looked over and smiled. Will do.